brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, here's something a little bit different for you. This is a little private get-together at David Elstob's auction house in Ripon. So we invited some journalists and regular buyers to a small little tea party celebrating our Queens Jubilee. And in it, we asked a few people to bring some antiques. David and I have not seen the antiques. We're going to be introduced to them live, right in front of you, and we're going to have to come up with something relatively interesting and factual without doing any research. Hope that makes perfect sense. Camera work's a bit dodgy because people stand in front of the camera, but it was all just filmed as live. Thanks for watching. Leave some comments. Don't forget to like, share, and all those sorts of things. Really does help the channel. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Sorry to interrupt when you were having your tea and eating the wonderful food, but just want to quickly say thank you for coming this afternoon to our Silver Jubilee, it's not Silver Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee tea party.
You're about 50 years out of date.
Well out, aren't I? Yeah. I wasn't around then, you were.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here to talk about antiques, to celebrate the Jubilee. Have you brought any objects in? Has anybody brought any objects in? You've come to an auction, madam, and you've not brought anything in. I mean, for goodness sake. Oh.
Here we go.
I always say there's always one. You see, thank goodness for...
Three.
He's three. What have you got now? We haven't seen these things, ladies and gents, so we're going to test David Elstob, because when we make these TV shows, stuff happens on the hoof. You don't know what's going to be introduced to you. You've got a camera and somebody will give you something and you look at it and you've got to come up with something half sensible in a nanosecond. And David, I've discovered after doing our YouTube videos, is very good at this, because if somebody does it, it's being filmed, and if you don't know what on earth it is, you do what, David?
Just make it up.
You make it up. Exactly. I've been doing it for 20 years. Now, we haven't seen anything here, so come on, test us. Come on, David. Come on in the centre of the... This is your...
TV career could be over before it's even started.
This better be good, I tell you. What have we got?
Okay, I have lost the box, but I have
them. Okay. So we have... Well, David will tell us everything we need to know about that.
Hopefully.
Take your time, David. We've got till Tuesday. Yeah.
They're a pair of Victorian Irish silver sauce ladles.
I knew they were Irish.
Oh, very good. Because did you steal them from your grandmother?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're a set of Dublin hallmarks, retailed by J. Cannon. I don't know who the maker's mark is off the top of my head.
But 19th century, certainly.
Victorian, yeah. And they're both by the same maker, what we call fiddle pattern, engraved with crests. Very nice. Nice Irish silver commands a premium. You know, if they were a pair of English sauce ladles of this period, then they'd probably be £80, £100. Because they're Irish, they're probably a couple of £100.
There you go. Now, that was pretty impressive, I've got to say. I mean, well done, seriously. No, seriously. So that was really good. But yeah, Irish silver is at a premium, as is Irish furniture. Didn't you sell an Irish console table recently?
We did, made about 5,000.
Yeah.
We got a sideboard in today from a cork sideboard.
Oh, wonderful,
cork.
wonderful.
Brown furniture, isn't it?
Well, that's a brown furniture. I hate that term.
I know, it's like kind of a...
Yeah.
It's not that great, but it's coming back, I think.
It is. Good Victorian, Georgian furniture. Some of it. But some of it's making big money, and it's bizarre because there's a little chest of drawers over there. What's the estimate on that chest of drawers, David?
It should make £500 or £600. I mean, it's a nice Georgian,
okay.
Nice size.
Now, I bought 3 or 4 years ago a pair of Georgian chest of drawers in auction like that for 140 quid each. So the prices have doubled with certain pieces of antique furniture. And people will say to me all the time, what should I invest my money in? You know, what's the new antique? Well, the new antique is the old antique if you want to invest your money. So rather than looking at what's going to be the next thing, look at what has been and what is languishing.
That's good advice.
Really in low values, and that's fabulous Georgian and Victorian furniture, because the prices, you know, are only going one way now. So there you go. I'm asking myself questions. Have you got Do we have any questions? Oh, we've got some more items. Come on then.
Here you go.
What have we got now?
Well, you tell me.
Oh, well, I see. Well, these, I think, well, okay, so shall I do this one, David?
You do that.
Okay, so a boxed set of knives with Sheffield steel blades and silver handles, which is very normal. Are these all family pieces?
These are wedding presents.
Your wedding? Oh, right, okay. Well, I mean, you're either looking really good.
But my parents are friends who like antiques.
Okay. Now, I can see that it is hallmarked silver on there, and I think it's Birmingham, and I can't see the year letter, but looking at the style, does anybody recognise that style? It's got to be a bit Deco-y, hasn't it? Yeah, so Art Deco.
Probably 40s or something.
Yeah, so anywhere between 1920 and maybe 1940.
Could be as late as 40s.
It could be. But does anybody know where the term Art Deco comes from?
No, actually.
Okay. Are you interested in knowing? Oh, no.
Yes, please.
So the design of Art Deco, that new design after the First War, think about it, during the First World War, all hell was breaking loose around the world. Prior to the First World War, we had that Art Nouveau period, very organic, flowing, flowers, lovely maidens and all of that. But after the war, people didn't want to be reminded of the past, and they came up with this new design of geometric, modern, like space age looking stuff. And it was just called modern design after 1918, 1920. But it was the Paris Exhibition of Arts and Decorative Wares in 1925, where all these makers, manufacturers from around the world exhibited this new style of modern furniture, this kind of aspirational, looking forward, not past. And it was shortened down to the Art Deco Fair, and that's where your Art Deco term comes from for these. Now, it's interesting the fact that they're boxed, because I would hazard a guess and say that they have never been used.
That's sad, isn't it?
It is, because they were made, let's say, knocking on the door of 100 years ago, but nobody's ever used them. Why is that, David?
We all dine in a different way now, don't we?
We do, don't we?
Yeah, it's the same as canteens of cutlery, tea services.
Yeah.
I mean, tea services have come back a little bit, but you know, dining tables are even difficult to sell.
No, that's right. There was a time, 10, 15 years ago, at Christmas time, you could sell as many dining tables as you could get your hands on. Now people, they very sensibly watch the Antiques Road Trip on BBC whilst having their dinner on their laps. That's what they do. You do, don't you? You said that earlier. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I like to hear. But also, I think because they were given as gifts, probably a wedding gift in the 20s, 30s, 40s initially, they're special things. And so they're simply closed, put in a cupboard, and then a generation or two later, somebody dies. They end up in auction, someone else buys them, then they give them to you. Value, David?
Probably £40, something like that. Not a lot, I'm afraid.
40, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
I like to say the Antiques Roadshow. I wouldn't part with them.
No. Yeah. But if they're worth £5,000, they'll be gone, yeah.
We'll
Very
get them
nice.
in the next sale for you.
Go on then, another one.
It's more silver because there you go.
You're a bit of a, got a silver fest. Oh, there you go, David. Oh, that's
There's a
interesting.
label on these. Is just going to tell me what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, ask the audience, David, if they know what that is.
Yeah. Fish servers. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they silver?
They're not. The silver plate, electroplated.
Right. Electroplate. Now, do you know the difference between electroplate and old-fashioned Sheffield silver plate? So old-fashioned Sheffield silver plate is literally thin slithers of silver rolled on top of copper. So it's a way of making cheap silver, and that was invented in 1740. And in 1860, they invented the electroplate, which is literally a way of dipping base metal into a vat and the silver plate sticking to it. So this business is full of rules of thumb. So if it's electroplate, you know instantly it's post 1860, but they're a bit later, aren't they?
It's going to be about 1900, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty. They're the type thing that's just taken a hammering over the years
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
value. I mean, you can still sell a pair of silver ones, I hate to say it, almost selling scrap weight.
Yeah. You're not having a very good day out, really, are you?
The
Yeah.
sauce ladles were nice. probably 40, 50 pounds a pair.
Yeah.
That area. Just show me the beautiful box again.
It's great, again, never
Again, they
used.
just go into the cupboard.
Now, if anybody can tell me how you use properly a fish knife, I will give you a copy of my latest book, whether you want it or not.
Not all at once.
Do you know, madam, you look sophisticated and refined.
Well,
Yeah.
Scraping all the skin off the top.
Yes, that's right. Not very many people know how to use these. I'm going to demonstrate. Do you know how to use it?
Have we got some fish?
We could do with the fish, but you have to... yeah, exactly.
Nip to Morrison's.
I've got a... Oh, I have got a fish board. Yeah, I have. Exactly. Well, look at the shape. So you can tell that it's a fish knife. It almost looks like a whale in profile. And you have a pointy end, and the pointy end is designed specifically for picking out the bones of... I'll show you, madam. The fish. Can you see?
Yeah.
How pokey it is. So if you were entertaining guests, you would skin the fish with this blade here, which is not sharp, you'll never cut yourself. You peel and skin the fish, and then you pick out the bones before slicing the fish and serving. So if you use a fish knife really well at a dinner party, you seriously impress your friends. Do you have friends? I mean, do you have dinner parties?
I
yeah.
do.
Yeah. Do you? Right, okay. Well, there you go. Shame these aren't going in the auction then.
And it's
Yeah.
not a good thing to serve a load of bones.
No, you don't want to be serving bones. You don't want to be serving bones. Remember that. Yeah.
Good advice.
Would you mind terribly just moving that side over there, because I'm just recording that. I'm trying to get David on television, so we're going to send it. Yeah, but now you're blocking him. So if he doesn't get a job on TV, it's down to you. Yeah. There you go.
Are you my agent?
I am his agent, yeah, but things I haven't done a deal with him yet. Yeah. So value-wise, what did we say?
40, 50 pounds.
40, 50 pounds, yeah. Now, I did bring one of my books in. Has someone stolen it? Has someone moved my book?
I think.
I was going to give away my book. Well, we'll find it. Do we have any questions, first of all?
Sorry, I was just going to ask, you said electroplate. How did you tell the difference between the plate and the Sheffield?
On Sheffield plate, the way it's done, if you look at the edge of it, the edge of a vase, you'll have a sheet of silver, a sheet of copper, and then another sheet of silver. So you can generally see a sandwich in a layer, some layers there. Yeah. Electroplate is just dipped in, and the plate on those wears very easily as well.
Yeah, it does.
So there's more likely to be scuff marks for the base metal underneath.
And also the Sheffield plate has a real wavy kind of soft feel to it, much more
it's
like
lovely.
real silver, because it is basically very thin real silver strengthened with copper, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a cheap way or cheaper way of making pots and stuff.
And still very collectible, actually.
Really
Sheffield
collectible,
plate.
very
Yeah.
collectible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when in the trade somebody might describe a Sheffield plate jug to you, and they might say it's bleeding. It's a bit of a horrible term, but it describes it perfectly well. It means that it's rubbed away and the copper is bleeding through. So the more you clean silver, is a very soft metal, the more chance you've got of allowing it to bleed through. So don't over clean your silver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we don't have any questions, shall we give away one of my books because I can't sell them?
You're
Shall
dying
we?
to, aren't you?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sort of on the theme of what we're celebrating. We're celebrating, our monarchy. And so I wrote a book a couple of years ago for a theatre show called A Romp with the Georgians. So looking at Georgian life between 1714 and 1830. Your ancestors, the British ancestors, who were an exceptionally eccentric bunch. They were amazingly brave, very clever. They invented just about anything you can imagine that improved the lives for the whole of the world, hundreds of millions of people. You can trace back directly to your Georgian ancestors. And get this, there was only 7 million of them. 7 million people lived in England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. That was Britain at the time. Just 7 million, and they changed the world forever. So there we have it. I'm going to ask you a question, and the person who gets it right is going home with my book. And it's obviously going to be antique related, Georgian related. So where shall we go with this? Okay. In my book, I write about Georgian cosmetic surgery because the Georgians were very good at experimenting on themselves. Basically, they were very good at killing themselves, but the whole world benefited. They loved transplanting teeth. So in the Georgian period, you could have a tooth transplant. It didn't always work out very well. And sometimes you get a terrible disease from someone who gave you a tooth, but they had disease and you transplanted their disease. It all was going wrong. But there was a very popular tooth during the early part of the 19th century called the Waterloo Tooth, which was a false tooth. Does anybody know, A, where the Waterloo Tooth came from and what year it came from?
French soldiers.
French and British, dead. Yes. You're getting there, but you haven't got the book yet. Yeah. What? Did you just Google that, madam? I think you did. Madam, I'm going to give it to you. 1815, the Battle of Waterloo. Give her a round of applause. Now, no, 1815 Waterloo, 1805 Trafalgar. Yes, yeah. Oh, people do get mixed up with that. But what they did in 1815 is suddenly came onto the market in Britain, the Waterloo teeth, because, yeah, teeth were taken from the dead soldiers from the battlefield. And these were very sought after teeth because the men, the donors, were very young and fit up until the point of death on the battlefield. So their teeth were ripped out and they were sold to people who needed teeth transplants, the Waterloo teeth. Final point of interest, they reckon more Waterloo teeth were sold in Britain than were ever taken from the battlefield. In other words, there was a lot of dodgy Waterloo teeth. Another round of applause. If I find my book, you get it. Yeah.
Thank you everyone again for coming. Hope you enjoyed that. Do enjoy looking around the sale, eat some more food, have some more tea. Do leave some bids before you go. Everybody's got to buy at least one lot tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's the deal.
Otherwise, you can't get out. The doors are locked. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Good. Tea and cakes. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. I'm just going to find my book. I think I know where the book is. So don't you be trying to escape. Did you? Well, you should have got that right. Well, you did.
Thanks, Robin.
Yes.
We'll give you a ring tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is.
As ever, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm David Harper. So from me and David Elstob, cheerio.